Hey guys, welcome to another video. Cuinix here, back at it again with yet another one. So with the recent changes in technology, obviously technology may change, may advance. All that technological stuff may trickle all the way down to cars, and cars are not being made the same way they used to be made. So I'm making this video to highlight some things that have changed and some things that us as purists. Me, I'm a purist, definitely. And I know some things zinaweza kuwa petty on this list. Maybe it's just a purist mwenye ana complain, but yeah, but unajua kuna vitu tu nimeweka hapo because yeah. So in this video, that is what I'll be discussing. I hope mta relate. I know some of what wenye nimeongea now, they do relate on some things. And yeah, so with that being said, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you're an OG subscriber, thank you for watching another video. Please keep sharing. I thank you for the support mkinipatia for the previous videos. And yeah, so with that being said, let's start out with the list. So the first thing that I would like to highlight is the manual gearbox. Okay, it's not new news that a manual gearbox is a gearbox. It's technically a gearbox that allows you to selectively change your gears manually. It's in the name. It's common knowledge. So it's not new news that they are kind of getting phased out in a way because more and more manufacturers are not producing cars that come with a manual option. And which is kind of like purists like me, it really affects us because most of us prefer the conventional manual, and I don't blame them. Okay, let's consider a country like USA. Okay, USA, it's the land of the free, obviously. In the year of 2020, which is this year, obviously, around 41 out of 327 cars that were being manufactured in the US of A. USA, it's a first world country. They produce cars there. All those Dodges, all those Chryslers, and all that. So 41 out of 327 cars only came in manual. The rest zilikuja in automatic. Basically, what they are saying is in 13% of every car produced in 2020 in the US of A, are only 13% of that is offered in a manual. And meaning that if you go to a lot and that had 100 cars that were produced in America in 2020, only 13 would be in a manual. Where that is clear signs that the manual is kind of getting phased out. And I don't blame them. More and more young people, generally the whole society, prefer the more efficient automatics because they are kind of easier to drive. You don't need with a manual. It's interactive. You need to learn to drive. So I don't blame young guys not wanting a manual because it might get on their nerves or it's learning a manual. It's a curve. You don't get better at it the first days. You just keep doing it for years and years until it click. Yeah, so yeah, manufacturers wanasema it's less on demand and they are slowly phasing out. I'd like to thank some auto manufacturers like Tata, which makes the Suzuki, but they offer a good variety of manuals in their lineup. So like the Suzuki Swift Sport, it has a manual option besides the the CVT. Yeah, so manufacturers like that. And if you're a young guy who prefers autos, guy Akimanjus, you're in the wrong place. Yeah, but that is just in my opinion. So yeah, the first thing on my list is a manual gearbox. The second thing on my list would be keys. Okay, this the keys have technically changed. Let me show you a good example. These are the keys to this car. As you can see, it's just metal with some grooves. Normal key stuff. Isn't complicated. You just take it, one key for the door, one key for the ignition. some cars used to come with like one key for the door and one for the yani just one single key for like the ignition and the door, which was, you know, kind of dangerous, because when you lose one key you lose access to two things. So yeah, conventional keys, just simple stuff. So this is a key to this Toyota Corolla E91. Easy stuff. This is a key for a parcel. Okay, with this key, this key has a battery, has a wireless thingy, it's wireless entry system, that's what they call it. Key-free system, that's what they call it. You know, easy, as much as these are good, you know, advancements in technology. Up ndio saa zingine I just feel in a way that this was like, in that those things that should have been kept simple, because it has a spare key, right? But this is only to open the door. With this dead, you cannot start the car with this. Trust me, it has happened to me with this particular car, and inaweza kufrustrate. So keys have changed. I know they are as it has stopped, because Mercedes these days, they even ditched the kachuma thing. This, so it's just like a flat sensor with the just scary stuff. You can imagine umeenda road trip alafu betri hii kitu imeishia huko kwa kichaka, si utapiga nduru. Yeah, hata squeezy naona zingine ziko na two small LCD screens that show you can like do some weird stuff with. Yeah, I think keys should just stay simple, because if they continue to complicate it, sisi kama consumers tutafika pale tutumie tu. Okay, the third thing on my list would be fixing your own car. As vile unajua vile tu manufacturers are, you know, pumping more technology into cars. Unajua few ilianza na carburetors, tukaenda EFI, squeezy tunasikia sijui VVTi with intelligence, MIVEC and all those type of names to control the engine. Basically squeezy engines unafungua hivi unafikiria ni car ni spaceship, because they are so complicated. And kuna discussion imearise huko kwa forums that are cars still fixable at home, and basically is the DIY meaning like DIY meaning do it yourself dying, because cars are becoming more and more complicated to work with. Basically kitambo, all you needed was a service manual and some simple tools. A service manual is just like a book of which the manufacturer, you know, made for the car, so that anytime kuna ka fault unaweza check up when the car is behaving this way, so this is what I have to change, and you do it at home with some simple tools. But squeezy I don't even sijika gari zingine za kuja na service manual. Imagine, does a Bugatti come with a service manual? I don't think so. The oil change on those things cost 3 million in Kenyan shillings. Oil change too. So yeah, basically that's fixing your own car. It's coming to an end. It'll be the, let's say, cars like Teslas are those electric cars that's made by, you know, Elon Musk. Those cars cannot be fixed by anybody else except Tesla. There is this YouTuber I follow on, this content creator I follow on YouTube that highlights like how problematic it is just to order a part for a Tesla. And I'll link his channel hapo chini, muangalie muone vile yeye anateseka, because he fixes cars. He's a mechanic. He fixes cars. So yeah, fixing your own car becoming really hard. That is something I'll really miss, because simple cars are simple cars you can fix with just some simple tools. It's not frustrating. Next thing would be the exhaust sound. Basically, squeezy manufacturers every major manufacturer is leaning on the side of electric or hybrid. Say any major manufacturer like Toyota, Honda, what else? Audi, all those major manufacturers, Volkswagen, they either have an electric hybrid on their production line, or a fully electric car on their mini production line. Because with the recent stuff, everybody is just going environmentalist, like all cars burn fossil fuel, which is not good for the ozone and stuff, which I completely agree. Climate change is something that is real, and with that, inaleta problem in the next like 4 decades. Obviously electric zitakuwa on the road, whether you like it or not, zitakuwa on the road, because unajoga governments like in Europe are really like pushing, because they like lowly tax the electric cars, so that to encourage their citizens to get electric cars. So which makes sense, but sidhani hita happen Kenya. We are still fighting import duties on on cars like this one. So yeah, so obviously electric cars hazitumii gas, so haziburn fuel, so exhaust very soon itapotea, hakuna haja exhaust, of which I hope I just get to see that generation that they do not use like conventional engines. Everybody is just fully electric or some other type of fuel. It will be a time to live in. I hope I see those times. And purists like me, unazoga, we really like our exhaust sound. Kwanza watu wangu wa Subaru, sijui tutasurvive aje. Electric Subarus, that is the worst nightmare. Yeah, so exhaust sound, something ikiisha tutamiss vibaya sana, and basically tutakotabia na stories like they used to like do boom boom or stuff. So the next thing on my list would be design of a car, or the styling. Basically, if you look at the old cars, they're really like Mercedes Benzes of that time, the BMWs. They were unique in a way kwa sababu back then everybody was trying to outdo each other on the design table. Juu unapata like yeah, just take for example a BMW and Mercedes. They try to like outwit each other kwa sababu the styling, the all those just sculpturing. But squeezy, which made out of like really nice cars, as in like vintage cars are really nice. Lakini squeezy sijui manufacturers wanacheza game gani ya copy and paste, kwa sababu cars look so similar. Cars look so similar kwa sababu unaona, you see like just able look at these cars that I am overlaying right now. Niambia these cars are not similar. These cars are so similar, like I mean, can you please just try and show us you're trying not to make similar type of looking cars. The next thing on my list would be durability. Okay, in terms of like the body. Basically, if you ever if you ever walked up to like a classic car, let me give you a good example. Something like a Peugeot 504, very good example of a classic car. The sheet metal that was used to make that car is really hard and tough compared to like the ones they use these days. Unajoga what manufacturers are doing, they are trying to make cars more and more lighter, so that they increase like the fuel economy. Basically, when you use thinner sheets of metal and more plastic, you make the car a little kind of light, so the car, which reduces the overall weight. Car gari liko 450 kilograms, you can even shave like the 50 kilograms, so pata gari liko around 400 kilos, which is nice, but it makes up for crappy type cars, kwa sababu let me tell you, kuna time I was like walking along Kanguru Road, and I witnessed an accident between a Belter and a Peugeot 504. But vile accident ilikuwa inaka Belter iligonga kitu ingine, because that car was mangled to some extent, mangled, as in it was just not like head on, as in from the side it looked like it hit like a tree or something. But the Peugeot was like the only thing that needed replacing was the headlight. The right fender just needed some panel beating and it would be fine. So it was a clear example. I wish I had taken some pics back then, and ninge share hapo juu, but I'll try and get some pics all over the internet. Unajaga hizo memes zikuwa old school versus new school, zikuwa all over. So yeah, basically they are not making cars as they used to do, and it's true. Ukisikia mtu anasema hivyo, it's true. Just take a look at old vintage cars. Those cars are made to last. Unaona gari imekaa 50 years na bado haijakufa. So yeah, so durability, we miss that durability, as in something you can like trust while you're driving. Yeah. So we had to change it up a little bit kiasi because unajua it was getting noisy where I was. So nimekuja kwa kafield. Hopefully hapa sitasumbuliwa. Hata this car cannot accommodate my beautiful sign, so I have to keep it kando. Next thing on my list would be simple interiors. Basically unajua okay, with the classic cars, as in like older cars, it was more of like functionality of a luxury. Squeezy as in like let's say something like the climate control inside the car, very complicated. Squeezy unaingia kwa gari and the dials are more complicated than a laptop. Unaingia hivyo just like, oh my god, all these buttons. Unafeel like uko kwa cockpit ya ndege. You're like ndafanyaje? Kwanza with the like 2020 models, guy, the technology inside the interior, so much. And unajua one thing we will miss is kwa sababu unajua with the old cars it was just some few buttons. You have your AC, not like, do you want climate controlled AC, do you want this type of AC? I just want AC, not like some weird names they give some. Because some things I usually say, like, as in, you keep them simple because they are meant to be simple. Yeah, so that's the 7th thing on my list. Simple interiors. Okay, the next thing on my list would be the feel of the car. Basically, one thing we can all agree is that modern cars have really taken away the feel of the car. Let me give you like analogies, okay? Analogies or whatever they're called. Yeah. So one, they've taken away the engine, replaced it with electric motors. Okay, no more sound. Tumeshakubali. So another thing they've taken away, they've taken away the manual steering, of which ilikuwa inakuja na hiyo inaitwaje, power steering pump. They've taken it away. Squeezy, it's run by electric motors on like really newer models. So what your inputs are directly translated to the wheels through an electric motor, basically steamer. Yeah, and another thing, they've taken away the gearbox. So the cars these days are so in that state that it's so comfortable. Unaweza kuwa uko nini, uko like you're so comfortable you might lose yourself. I don't know if you've driven like modern day cars, as in like if you drive like the newer type of Mercedes, una feeling like you're too pampered, as in there is a lot of computers driving the car. When you get G, it has this, it has that, it has that. A lot of computers and sensors. This takes away the feeling of like driving the car. You feel that the feeling that makes you like feeling you're driving a car. So you come in, I know this is for people when you're like really like into old classic cars. If you drive like a classic car and drive a new modern age, you'll feel the difference, as in the car is doing more these days than it used to do kitambo. I don't know if it's kind of noisy here too. You'll have to tell me. The 9th thing on my list would be the warnings. Okay, with this I'd rather give an example rather than blabber around. So you can imagine getting into like a classic car. No warnings, everything, you just get in and drive. So if you have not worn your seat belt, it's okay, the car will keep quiet. Squeezy, hebu ingia gari na ukose kuvaa seat belt. Zile Christmas carols utasikia hapo. Basically it's like some cars even go to an extent of even limiting the car to 20 kilometers an hour if you have not buttoned up your seat belt. So kama hujavaa seat belt, hiyo gari itapita 20 kph. So one thing, unajua classic cars, they have that piece. Kila pali unahitaji a seat belt, unaweza kuwa unaingia, you're turning just your car around the court or something. Just one thing, newer model cars are way noisier. I mean, wacha niwapate example. You see all of these lights, kila moja ikiwaka. an alarm beeps, and when they beep they do not stop. They beep hadi saa zile utaitosheleza. And I do understand like newer model cars like unajoga better safety features and stuff, but we will miss the quiet times where kwa sababu where you just enter, kama ni seat belt umevaa, si lazima kuambia oh this oh that oh this oh that oh this oh that. Yeah, so the warning, something we'll surely miss because our futures are ni Christmas carol tu ziko ndani ya gari. So the next thing, actually the last thing on my list, would be the spare wheel. Najua most of you don't know, but by the year of 2020, 1 out of every 3 cars lacks a spare wheel. Actually 1 out of every 3 cars in production now lacks a spare wheel. Basically manufacturers are ditching out the spare wheel because unajoga as we said before, manufacturers wanakimbiza the fuel economy. So each manufacturer anajaribu to have the highest fuel economy in a particular class of a vehicle. So let's say something like a Ford sedan. Ukitoa the wheel, the jack, the spanner, zote zinaweza amount to around 10 kilos, si ndio? So 10 kilos out of a car is a lot. So unaweza pata like that saves on fuel like I think a liter also, if the math is correct. It saves like a liter of petrol. So unapata instead of telling the consumer it's 19 kilometers per liter, wanaweza kupatia the advantage wapate kwambie it's like wanaweza kupatia the advantage is 20 kilometers an hour, 20 kilometers per liter. But hawakwambii the reason why it's going that for that long that range is because iko na nini inaitwaje, haina spare wheel. And I believe spare wheels zinakuwaga quite essential. Imagine you are like on a road trip and then the car gets a puncture and you cannot change the tire on, as in you don't have a spare wheel. The car doesn't come with that option. And this is something actually kwa list yote ni kitu yenye nilishtuka while I was researching. I was like, I knew there were cars that didn't come. I didn't know like as in the numbers are quite high. Obviously kuna zile like super cars hazikujagi na spare wheel like a Lamborghini or Bugatti or some of those really expensive cars, but they have like those like really high grade type of tires. So I believe hizo zinajistandia, but conventional cars, like cars that you use every day, mbona zikose spare wheel? It doesn't make sense. It's just not conventional for the consumer. Any kitu by in the next like 10 years, a lot of cars won't have a spare wheel option. So this will affect the consumer. This is something they really have to like look at, as in governments all over the world have to like tell manufacturers, man, they stop not including a spare wheel. It's essential. It's definitely essential. And if you don't believe me, please check it up. Kwa sababu imagine how driving a car without a spare wheel. It's really scary stuff. So with that comes the end of the video. As I said before, if these are just some petty things. I know watu wanasema jamaa tu anasema hataki kuchange, but unaweza when there is change, kila mtu anataka conform. Kwanza change on something you really like, as in it's really hard to accept. But these are just some petty things. Obviously they're there for the bettering of the human race. Yeah, for the bettering of the driving experience, and everything has a reason. Yeah, so inaitwaje, end of the video. If you're new here, please, and if you like the video, please I don't mind if you give it like a like, kwa sababu itanijenga zin, when you like a video itakuwa recommended to other people who might also like it, so you're doing the human race a favor. Yeah, so I'm sorry about the scenes. Najua hapa kuna kelele kiasi, but until I work out where to get a studio space. This is what we'll be doing. So yeah, see you on the next one. Najua nimekuwa nikislack kwa sababu of the flu that I have. Ka uja notice my nose, one of my nose strills is still blocked to the, so not clogged as in blocked as in the flu stuff. So yeah, see you on the next one. Peace out.